Well, we're finally getting news of the next TV show that Riot Games is going to produce in the League of Legends universe. And I think for a surprise of us all, it's not going to be animated like Arcane, the two seasons that are on Netflix. Very well received show, won many Annie Awards, won Emmy Award for its first season. No. It appears Riot is going live action. Let's talk about it. Yes, it's kind of been leaked out there through different articles and Facebook posting and stuff that Riot Games Studio has basically been in contact and trying to contract out a 9-episode order for a TV show to be filmed in the country of Vietnam. Apparently, they've been looking all over Asia for some type of setting where this can work on. And just recently, it seems like they settled on Vietnam, and they're going through the process to get all the environmental clearances to be able to film there by the end of 2025. And a lot of people are online wondering, what exactly does this mean? There isn't anything official from Riot being said, no official thing talking about of what's going to be covered, what region maybe they focused on, what story maybe they focused on, but I think you really have one main option and a side option per se in terms of regions. The side options, which we won't go too much into because there's just too much to talk about, is they could, with the Asian background, go into an Ionian series, but I don't know how well that would translate into live action. Just given the characters and the fantastical elements in 9 episodes, I don't know what type of stories they could cover. There's way too much to do in Ionia to really focus down on just a simple 9 episodes show. And then you get kind of the naval type, sea type area of Bilgewater and the Shadow Isles, especially Bilgewater, which in League of Legends regional lore is almost more of a Pirate Bay island town where you kind of have all the different type of scallywags, you would say, of the world kind of come together, and they have their own jobs, their crews and stuff like that. And I think much of the discussion that you're seeing is under the assumption that this live action series, which a pirate kind of regional based system I think works a lot better live action than any other thing Riot has, could be coming with this live action adaptation coming through this Vietnam contract we're learning about. And that's what this video is about. Who may we see here? And what story are they going to tell on this potential 9-episode run? Or at least that's what the first season's going to be, if it is everything's to be believed with all this news that's been released out. Now, when it comes to Bilgewater, I think there's only 2 stories, unless they make something original, they can cover. The first one that I think is very much most likely and very obvious is called Burning Tides. This kind of sets up the political nature that Bilgewater goes through for all the characters we know in the game that surround Bilgewater. Your main people you'll be looking out for here as one of the leads in terms of, League of Legends characters. First person that comes to mind is Sarah Fortune. This red-headed individual is looking for some vengeance of her own. We won't go into too much of how much that is, but she is looking to make a mark on Bilgewater, and especially the people at the top of Bilgewater. Easy main character in the center. Other main characters you have is TF Tobias, and I forget what his last name is. This is a individual who loves running cons. He's known to have magical abilities with his playing cards, and he's somebody who has had contracts with Sarah Fortune in the past at the beginning of the Burning Tides. He also has a former partner / current partner, maybe, called Malcolm Graves, who plays an essential part in the storyline, who is an essential character to TF and everything going on with his character build throughout the whole entire show. And then you have Captain Gangplank mixed in with his love of Alawi. Captain Gangplank is the one who runs Bilgewater during Burning Tides, and he plays a central role in anything that happens in this region of the world. And Alawi was somebody who used to be his love, who plays more of a tribe of mystical people who believe in spiritual powers that are very factual in this world, as we've seen with something like Arcane. Interesting foil to the more pirate scummy life that you get out of Bilgewater, the Buru people that Alawi is a part of. Now, the Burning Tides, again, we're not going to go too much into it. It's a lot of political jousting, a lot of maneuvering. It's a very simple storyline that they can build out, I think, pretty well in a 9-episode season, and I think would be a fun way to establish characters here. If they want to be adventurous, they could adapt their role-playing game Ruin King, which is based through Bilgewater and the Shadow Isles, but has a much further, I guess, roster of League of Legends characters that they can go into and maybe tell their stories of. From the people we talked about already, you have Sarah Fortune and Alawi playing main characters in this game, but they're joined by a group of people who come from around the world of Runeterra. From the most northernmost area of the continent, you have Braum coming from what was called the Freljord. He would be, I think, a fan favorite in a TV show like this. The mustache, the muscle, but his heart of gold bleeds through in his character the whole entire time. Coming from Ionia, you have two absolute favorite characters of Yasuo and Ahri. These are probably the big gun hitters of League of Legends. Yasuo, a swordsman who has kind of powers with air, has a very tragic past and why he is going to Bilgewater in this game. And then Ahri is a interesting character who kind of is battling with her inner demon, so to say. She's much more fantastical, very much more magical of an individual. Again, one of the most popular characters in League of Legends. If they want to go with a Ruin King game, you would have these main characters be your 5, and the adversaries you're kind of looking at from the Shadow Isles perspective. You have the characters of Thresh, who kind of plays as the puppet master behind all the scenes of everything that's going to happen to the Shadow Isles. Gangplank as well, coming off what happened with Burning Tides. And then Viego, the Ruin King himself, who has his whole book and storyline that if I were to choose something to do, I would do an actual adaptation of Ruination in a TV show or in a full-on movie sense that could pair up well with Burning Tides. Because I could just imagine you do a movie of Ruination, you do a TV series of Burning Tides, and they naturally combine together into the Ruin King. I think that can work incredibly well if they're planning a live-action series spin-off of these characters and these type of things. Why I think they could go with Ruin King, though, is each character, Braum, Yasuo, Ahri, Sarah Fortune, Alawi, even characters like Viego, Thresh, and Gangplank, they all have their backstories you kind of learn throughout the game. And in a TV show sense setting, if Riot wants to kind of branch off and show all different parts of their world in live action, Ruin King allows them to do flashback episodes of each character, giving great character writing moments and arcs for characters, and just able to world build out very naturally in a live action setting. And are able to tell some of, I think, their great stories in a more simple one episode fashion as they're working in the regular Ruin King storyline itself. I think Ruin King as a story would be tough to do in a 9-episode period if you're adding in flashbacks that are really bringing in character moments for all of these characters that are involved. But some of them you can pair off together. You can kind of do a 2-season arc of Ruin King that can tell a little bit of the Burning Tide story that's relevant to Sarah Fortune, Alawi, and Gangplank. You can talk about everything that's coming from Ionia with Ari and Yasuo especially, and why they're seeking their refuge in Bilgewater. You can get an idea of what the world of Freljord is like for Braum in there. Pike is kind of an interesting Bilgewater character himself, and I think he could have a great standalone episode as a character from the Ruin King we haven't talked about yet. There's more League of Legends characters around the Ruin King itself, so if you're planning out a Ruin King TV series, I think you could tell these stories pretty well and do good flashbacks for that. I would always start with Ruination, that novelization, being the first project I would want in the live-action League of Legends. It's a great, easy story, provides action, some magic to it, some real combat, some great characters and world building, and then Bilgewater's a great way to build out with Burning Tides and the Ruin King game into the rest of the world in live action. But does any of this interest you guys? Are you fans of Arcane? Are you upset that Riot is moving maybe away from animation and moving towards live action? One thing I will say as somebody who covers a lot of music, movies, and TV shows is that in the West, live action is still king, and even though Arcane had great adult writing in it, had great great adult themes in it, was just a great TV show for anybody as an adult to take in and watch, animated mediums are just not taken seriously in that format for adults. And a live action, if done right, will only get more people's eyes on it, and I think make this more of a higher chance of success in terms of getting people wanting to watch the lore, buying more into it and stuff like that. But I'm interested to hear all of your guys' thoughts down below. Do you think I'm right or wrong with any of these calls in Bilgewater and stories? What characters do you want to see in League of Legends live action? And do you want to see live action at all? Tell me all down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to keep up to date on any of this news for League of Legends, and check out any of my other videos on the channel right now.